fuck you, Dad.
What if what if LeBron grounds him during the game? They would never do that, would he? He can't get off the bench. He goes, Coach, I grounded him. He's got another few minutes. I think maybe they call him, instead of brawny, just scrawny. Just to differentiate it. It's not negative. Okay, ready? You want to start Superfly, Dana? Are we starting? Is it starting?
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
I'm excited. Yeah, we had Lovitz last week. I don't know if anyone knows who Lovitz is, but
Yep.
people like him. I look at the YouTube comments. You wouldn't think it. You would never think it, but people like him.
It's not even fair. It's not a fair fight for John when he is looking at a picture of himself. He can hardly focus on the podcast because he kept turning his chin up, and it's very funny. But it's fun to give John props. He actually did look good. I said, "What have you been doing?" It made him so happy. But I learned his rhythm of like, you be happy. Whatever he says, you come back with you. You don't seem to be liking our podcast. You don't like your podcast. That's his great trick. I love.
Yes, when he leaves me at dinner, he goes, David, I'm sorry about your attitude.
Yeah, that's one of his classics.
It's classic. So anyway, he did something for People magazine. It's so ridiculous. And I just saw it, an article that said, John Lovitz and David Spade, how they became friends. I'm like, more like, why did they?
That's funny.
Isn't that funny? And so I think it was, the article is about, Phil Hartman passed away, who's one of his best friends. And then I had Chris pass away, who we all loved. And then he said we sort of bonded over that, which is true. But I think we were friendly way before that. But it was kind of like, I think it was more he lived in LA and we started hanging out and stuff. But here's a picture from that article. Look at this.
Oh, funny.
That is it. Look at that backdrop. Anger management. That was that premiere. Fucking the premiere whore is back.
Jeez.
Look at my skateboard shoes, my beat up jeans.
If you were gonna put a name on that, like say that shot of you two is a movie. Yeah. What would be the name of the movie? Because it kind of looks like you're in a movie together. Like this is, it's Vinny and JoJo or something.
It would be My Son's a Skater. And then he would be my dad. No, it would be.
How about Batter Boys?
How about, instead of Bad Boys?
Yeah, Batter Boys.
How about Kurt Cobain and his manager?
That's true. You did have a little bit of that. John Lovitz and Kurt Cobain's manager.
So I have another story that you didn't hear, Dana, which I frickin' forgot to say when Lovitz was here.
Oh,
so when I moved in this mansion or whatever house, other people's words,
it's a mansion.
15 windows, 4 pantries. I mean, whatever it's called. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
7 bedrooms that have never had a human being inside them.
but all need furniture. So I move in, and for some reason, the opulence, the guy who built it, it was a new house. He had a lot of stuff I didn't really like. And so one of them was a toity. I don't like to say the word toilet, but fine. So he had like one of these super newfangled ones. So of course, Lovitz comes over one day in one of his pricey cars. And he goes, "What's going on over here?" And I go, "What?" I'm in the garage. I go, "Is there a rat?" "No, this toilet. It's beautiful." And I go, "Oh yeah, I don't know." And he goes, "Why is it in the garage?" And I go, "Well,
oh my God, it's blowing my mind."
Yeah, he can't believe it. He goes, it was in my room. I didn't really want it, so I just got a regular one. He goes, "Why would you do such a thing?" He goes, "I'm looking for one like this." I go, "No, you're not." And he goes, "I am." He goes, "I'm about to buy one. Do you know how much they are?" I go, "No." And he goes, $6,000. I go, "Shut the fuck up for this." And he goes, "Ooh, you got the seat warmer. Ooh, you've got all the jets and all the massaging part." I'm like,
"Oh my God."
Yeah. He goes, "This one's from Japan." He goes, "I'll buy it off you right now because I have to order mine." I go, "Well, John, you don't have to." He goes, "I insist on paying you." And I said, "How about you give me half? Is that a ripoff if you have to pay me?" And he goes, "That's the great deal because I was about to pay $6,000 right now." And so I keep hemming and hawing. He goes, "I'm bringing you the money. I need this toilet." I said, "Sure." So he goes, "I'm going to pay." Such a long story, but he has a good ending.
No,
so,
I know.
So he goes, I'm coming tomorrow with a truck with a friend, poor friend. So he comes over. I guess he takes it. I wasn't even here. He goes, I'll leave you the money. And I go, all right. And then I go, I didn't see it. And he goes, well, let's go to dinner Friday. And I go, and I'll give it to you. And I go, all right. So Friday, I go, hey, are we still going to dinner? And he goes, oh, somebody wants his toilet money.
I like the close up. He told me the exact same story about your toilet. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's in his garage. He doesn't know what he has. And I got it for $3,000. Let me ask you a question.
Tell him I ripped him off.
This happens. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but you can be talking to John on the phone for 20 minutes. And then he says,
what you're gonna say. I know you're going to say.
I'm on the loo.
Yep.
I go, damn it again. I don't want to talk to someone.
I know, it's gross. You should have to announce it, or you just don't make the call. I can't. It's too much.
But that's so funny. He told me the exact same story about your toilet.
You're so excited.
I was at David's house. It's from Japan. It had everything. Well, when you spend half your life on the toilet, you want a nice one. Good night.
No funny. It's so great he can't defend himself. Why are you talking about me again? So funny. So funny.
It's like he's always saying, and he's like the Mr. Pillow guy. Half off today.
Dude, that clip we have up on YouTube Shorts is killing it because he's going, I hear you, guy. And we're like, we can't hear you. And he's like, I can hear you. We're like, and they put the aquarium in front of him.
Oh, we should have a whole side podcast, technical issues with John Lovitz.
Yeah, exactly.
David Spade.
Watch these three idiots try to get on a Zoom. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the debate happened while we were gone.
Good Lord.
We're not political, but we have to talk about what's going on in the world. This was a big one. This is the Super Bowl of disaster debates.
Well, for people who live under a rock, I love that figure of speech as I eat my summer watermelon.
Yeah, Jesus, take a bite right.
It's like a great prop in a movie. There was a debate, David. Did you watch it?
I was on stage in one of my fucking Southern tour shows, but go ahead.
Trump
give me
and
the
Biden.
highlights. Yeah.
Everyone knows it was a odd debate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot going on.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be big. So Biden, I mean, one thing I learned from people who saw it is that he and his wife have a very close relationship, and they are, it's Nancy Reagan, Ronald Reagan.
Interesting. Yeah.
They are a team. So Biden has a rough debate. He wanted to talk like this. We're going to do things that a lot of people know about. We know what to do. Instead, he talked like this is the people and the pancakes, and we got to find Robert Mitchum.
Pancakes.
So I thought my impression was kind of, some people thought it was a little too much. Come on, he doesn't talk like that. Can't believe it's not better than the one you gave me, which killed when I was playing last week. Bed Bath & Beyond. But he does some stuff, some linguistic gymnastics there that made everyone think, okay, can this guy go for 4 more years?
Yeah.
Trump jumps off the stage, basically, all 300 pounds of him. I'm going now. Boom. She helps him down like he's a 5-year-old. Come on. and then she's in front of this little crowd with him and goes, you did great, Joey. Joey, you answered every question. Oh, you're
high
tremendous.
Fives all around. Yeah.
High fives. And, it made me think that he's not going to step down if he hasn't right before we started doing this podcast, because she's like, we're going to go, Joe. We're going to go. And what if he kind of in a moment said, well, maybe I should step down. And then she would go, that's not going to happen. Not on my watch, you little bitch.
Not with Vogue coming out. What's funny is she's a doctor, but people are like, it's kind of like how Dr. Pepper is a doctor, where you don't really know what kind of doctor.
Well, she's not a medical doctor.
Okay, cuts that out.
I don't know if he's going to step down.
I mean, he couldn't step down from the one step down after the debate.
First make sense, then do debate. Were they
No.
surprised? Was it DEFCON 1? What was Obama saying when he watched it? Because it was really.
Was Obama in his ear?
Oh, you mean like a little earpiece?
I think people said he might have an earpiece. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, slow down, Joe. If it was, he was in Joe's earpiece. Joe, slow down. That's the first thing I thought. He's going, China, we're going to do this thing. Slow down, Joe. Slow down, Joe.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. There was one person, because there's been thousands of articles in the last few days about this from left and right that said, I thought he had a great day. One of the best I've seen him. If that's the best you've seen President Biden, what does a bad day look like?
God,
just sounds and barking.
I sound like I feel like I hear him when I'm behind someone at McDonald's in the drive-thru. I hear like, Mr. President. Yeah, no, but who's going to take over? If anyone takes over, is it Dr. Jill?
Oh no! Well,
Could she do it?
That would. I mean, they floated. They would love Michelle Obama. They'd love Michelle Obama. They would take Oprah, and then you go down to the classics. Newsom, Governor Newsom of California. You're looking at Governor Whitmer, and I think Kamala Harris. She will not go gently into that good night.
Oh, come on! That's right. They don't even consider her. That's so fucking rude.
It's kind of, yeah. And I don't think so. Right now, they're in panic mode. They're reading the tea leaves. Do we replace him? And would he step down? I don't think he's going to step down.
I mean, that's hard. So he just politically, because I'm so stupid. He doesn't. They have to ask him, and he has to say yes. But don't they just tell him?
They would like it, like with Harry S. Truman in 52 and LBJ in 68. The president gave a speech and said, I will not seek the nomination. He's got all the delegates, so he would release them.
Release the delegates.
Release the delegate and release the Kraken while you're at it.
Yeah, exactly.
In what order, sir? Well, the Kraken first, then the delegates. So then they got to decide by August 7th, because there's a certification thing. The actual event, the Democratic National Convention, is a certification. That's not a good word for Joe.
No, it is not. Keep it away from him.
Certification thing.
Put it in a hiding place.
The bun cake, better butter in a
Bunsen burner.
Bunsen burner. Magnum PI.
I like when people look at him and then they look at his teleprompter and go, what is he trying to? This one's not that hard.
But who knew my impression was that accurate?
It's so good. Everyone loves it.
The non sequiturs. So basically, then they'll have people come up, give speeches. All the conventioneers and the super delegates, they can vote for whoever they want. It's how Lincoln got on there. He was the fifth choice. They'll go through ballot after ballot. It's a winning majority.
Oh, voting a new person if they had to be a new person?
It's an open convention, they call it. So you could actually go in there and give a speech.
And just
your best 10.
I could do it. I'll throw my hat in. Let's see what happens.
I don't know policy, but you'll laugh a lot.
I've got Newsom hair. Look at this guy. Tink, 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 tink.
Newsom's got the hair and the teeth. They would be in the
good-looking wins. I'll go by my whole life. Good-looking people will always win. He's
tragic. He's youthful, and so I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that something's going to happen.
Good. All right, let's look at some other headlines. What's going on out there?
What else is going on?
Any little videos I brought for you? Let's see.
I
like to get your opinions. Okay, here's one. Right. They had the draft recently, which is NBA draft. Your boy Bronny was in there. He got second round. You know basketball more than I do.
Well, it's kind of cool. LeBron's going to play with his son. That's really interesting.
Definitely history making.
Once before, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think Ken Griffey in baseball played with his son, Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
Son was better than him, I think. I don't think that's the case here. I don't think. But Bronny might get better and might get better than LeBron. You don't know. You don't fucking know.
LeBron's arguably the greatest of all time. Bronny could be an all-star and have a great career. There's lots of levels to this.
One problem is, what do you call him? Does he go, "Hey, Dad, throw me the ball"? What do they say? You know what I mean?
What if he still has kind of a normal? He tries to admonish him. Fuck you, Dad.
What if LeBron grounds him during the game? They would never do that, would he? He can't get off the bench. He goes, Coach, I grounded him. He's got another few minutes. I think maybe they call him instead of brawny, just scrawny. Just to differentiate it. It's not negative.
Well, I don't know how scrawny, but yeah, he has already. They jump on things. Brawny paper towels. He already has some. He already has a deal with them. Brawny for brawny. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So brawny paper towels. So there's lots of ways to make.
This stupid story is about an NBA prospect. He's the tall guy on the right. He's got a girlfriend, but apparently the swirling hubbub was this was his babysitter when he grew up. Now they're together. That sounds like a
weird story coming out of the NBA draft involving Kyle Filipowski, the 7-footer from Duke, who plummeted in the NBA draft after people found out that he was groomed by his Mormon girlfriend.
Groomed is a bad word.
Who used to be his babysitter.
He's 7 feet tall.
Love it. I love it so much.
Shoot. NBA team, they had question marks about his girlfriend being so much older than him.
Why do they care about his girlfriend when he's playing?
When they asked him about this situation, the answers they got weren't satisfying.
Now, Kyle is 20 years old. His girlfriend is 26 years old. Certainly not the craziest age gap I've ever heard. Hello, Bill Belichick. But it started to get weird when an account named Becky Filipowski, saying that she was Kyle Filipowski's mother, says that the girlfriend had a 3-year endgame and was grooming him when he was still in high school. That's when Kyle's older brother Daniel chimed in, saying that the story's been pushed under the rug for nearly 2 years and that it's Mormon grooming and brainwashing. Now, again, 20 and 26, not the craziest age gap you've ever heard. Okay. But the problem is that they
are we on his podcast or
I know we can jump off. You can, yeah. I just thought the story was funny. So, basically, I know it's too long.
Well, I thought we were on that guy's podcast.
Well, the story is, I just thought the story was funny.
I got it. I mean, grooming is an interesting word.
But they cut off the family. That's the part that they don't like.
Oh, the family didn't like it and they cut them off.
Yeah, the kid cut off his family when he
announced, I'm going with the babysitter, 6 years older.
She said, with the family.
Well, if he's 7 feet tall, if he can put the coconut in the basket, they're not going to care about no babysitter grooming.
I can't believe they even cared. He dropped in the draft. Why? There's guys with worse things than that going on. Nobody cares.
If he's a 20-10er, which means 20 points, 10 rebounds, and he could put the coconut in the basket, the babysitter's story goes away. I say hold out, and I think they should consult with Joe Biden. Should we just hold? Yeah, no, I've ever just surrender to go down. If you can put the coconut in the basket, you can get paid a lot of money. It's a better fine. Cavaliers.
Bunsen burner.
Bunsen burner.
I can't believe it's not Bunsen burner. Keep pushing that.
Howdy, and also Bed Bath and
Bed Bath and Beyond. Sounds like fucking Toy Story guy. All right, let's go next week. Oh, okay. How about this? Look at all these Joe Dirts. The first. Oh yeah, the comment is Joe Dirt, Joe Dirt, Joe. Yeah, this is a Joe Dirt. And I put a comment. Oh, we need these guys back at the office. LOL.
Is it a rodeo? Who are these guys?
I don't know. It's not a Joe Dirt thing. These are just guys.
It's not a club, but yeah, it looks like they could all be in Joe Dirt.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all looking the same. I've seen a lot of guys at these Comic Cons. There's a famous guy that's a Joe Dirt, dresses exact same, and he has a wagon with a meteor in it. I don't give the whole movie away.
So maybe that is a Joe Dirt kind of club.
I mean, or it's the hair club for men. There's a couple things that could be happening.
It's a club woman, the way you look at it.
Yeah, it's got to be a club. And I did this week, Dana. There's a part in the real Joe Dirt movie where I go buy fireworks, from a firecracker stand, and then I read off all these kind of fireworks. And so I did a TikTok. So embarrassing. But I went there. So I filmed myself going there, and I just went in and talked to the lady and goofed around in there. And then we split screened it with the real movie. So I put on TikTok, and it's doing quite well. People are really enjoying it.
Joe Dirt is getting brighter.
gets
Bright.
bigger
It's
as it
getting
goes
bigger. It's
along.
bigger now than when it came out.
That's for sure.
Bigger
That's
now.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
turned
it
into a
really
whole
lends
thing.
itself to memes, and I think
Mm.
people like Joe Dirt, the character. He's
Yeah.
looking for his parents. It's got kind of a sweetness.
Nice guy.
I mean, when I wrote it for you, I just thought this is going to be a winner and it's going to win for decades.
That's true. That was nice. You slid it under my desk, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice."
All right,
this
it was
is
Fred Wolf, in case he's listening.
yeah.
I'm
Me and
always
Fred
here.
Wolf wrote that,
Yeah.
and I love it. It's actually about a guy. People can relate, even though it's a goofy movie. But down on his luck, always getting picked on, always getting beat up.
Yeah.
Never gives up. Is in love. Misses his parents. Doesn't know where to fit in the world. Broke, hungry, all that going on. Okay, this is stupid because in one of the people go, "How'd you think of all these firecrackers I named?" I just made them up, half of them, you know. And one of them, I go, "Who's-ker do's, who's-ker don'ts?" And I just told my buddy the other day, I go, "Remember there was a game growing up called Who's-ker do, and it was German, and it meant 'Can you remember?' It was a memory game." And so just thinking of something stupid, I'd say Who's-ker do, and then I go, Who's-ker don't. But it's not even D-O, it's D-U, which I remember. It's got a little upsilon over it. So I guess
Who's-ker do, yes.
Yeah,
It's
Who's-ker
very German,
do.
right?
Yeah.
Who's-ker do, which translates in English to
I think it means can you remember?
Can you remember?
It was a fucking commercial on TV and it always stuck in my
Who's-ker do?
head.
Yeah.
Who's-ker do? And so when I was thinking of stupid names when I'm writing it, I'm like, Who's-ker do's, and then don't sounds funny. And then, so that's just a little BTS of that name of the firecracker. Not riveting. Not
Long way
interesting.
to go, but I'm going to just put this out there. Your next special has got to be called Who's-ker do.
Who's-ker
Because
do?
I won't forget that. I won't forget that.
Oh, yeah, because it's about memory. God damn,
Mhm.
that's right. That's why you remember the name. That's so smart.
It
All right,
sounds
next
more Scandinavian. Who's-ker do?
Who's-ker do?
All right. Oh, yeah. Men are
Oh,
raw
yeah.
dogging it on flights by giving up all in flight
Yeah, I
entertainment.
raw dogged
Instead,
one.
Stare at the real time flight map. Why do that every single flight?
You've
Why
been
is
raw
that
dogging?
dogging?
Because you
Why is it
don't
raw dogging?
you don't use anything. Because when I raw dogged it, because when I was on tour, I got on a flight and they go, "We have TVs," and then you get on, and they go, "Oh, it's in your hand, it's your phone." I go, "Oh, get fucked." There's nothing on my seat. That's what I want, a TV, and I just want to stare, watch ESPN or something. So I can't do it. So I just stared at nothing. Phone didn't work. Wi-Fi doesn't work. No one has a magazine like the old days, so you're just staring. So I raw dogged it for 3 hours, and a lot of people are doing it for longer. But that means
Well-
no water, no earphones, no music.
Well, there's also adult beverage. You could get a couple of beers if you're afraid of flying.
I know, and now you're not raw dogging.
It has to be pure raw dog. Okay, here's what I do. Try it at home. And I've
Okay.
shocked, seat mates with my information.
It's shocking.
On my mini iPad, I get on Turbulence USA. Then I put on the flight map. I have a map on my iPad that tells me when and where the turbulence is and for how long. So I'll
Sure.
say to someone who's a little afraid of flying, I go, "We're going to hit turbulence in about 10 minutes and it'll last for
Oh my
about 20.
God.
And they're like, "How do you know this?"
What a loser.
My God. And I say, Taylor Swift, take it easy. Just sit back and relax. I got you.
Oh, and then you give everyone tips because you're on the only one in the world on a turbulence app.
Well, yeah, I like the science of, 300 people in a metal tube 8 miles up and how we've gotten down to like, so what?
Yeah, can you believe it? We float in
Big
the air.
deal.
We're sitting like this, kind of with our knees up, like in a chair, just floating in the air. So weird.
I know.
Oh.
But
I don't like it when I
It's-
think about it.
when it works, it's great. I feel like when you come off a plane, everybody's a little cocky when they come through the terminal. Yeah, we did it. And we're here.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Oh, this is funny. Do you do meet and greets, Dana?
Oh, yeah.
You have in the past. So
Lots.
a meet and greet with Chris Brown, the girls like jump on him and he squeezes their ass. They do all the shit. So this guy's calling up his engagement because this is the girl's meet and greet photo she came home with. Isn't that so awesome?
Yeah. I feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah, of course.
What is this? is this a sense I'm letting you know, this woman is letting this person know I will have sex with you immediately if you
Pretty
say
much,
yes.
yeah. I mean, this is sort of
Yeah.
it. He turns into everyone's hall pass because if your girlfriend is, they had a guy waiting in line and his girlfriend did one of these. Unreal. I mean, Chris Brown and his, no offense, donkey dick. I wouldn't want to see that monster anaconda, and then she's like rubbing up against him, going, "Let's get a few more shots. Let's get up on his lap." And I'm like,
You have an
"Honey,
active imagination.
honey, I told you we'd get out of here and go to Chili's if you behaved, but you know, you're blowing it."
I've been groped many a time at
Oh,
meet
yeah.
and greets by boozed up
Yep.
sauce monkey women around
Yep.
60,
Mhm.
and they'll grope and grab and grip and
They don't
grind, and
care. I stopped
I
that
go,
because of that. I did that at the Venetian, and it was butt grabs. Take a picture on
Mhm.
3, then they kiss you on 3, grab your butt on 3.
Mhm.
I get handed CDs, scripts, demo tapes.
God, I guess we're kind of like sex symbols or something.
Yeah.
Or they're just drunk.
No, one girl goes,
Mhm.
first of all, they're shocked. They hear I've got this rep. And so they're like, they can't believe I don't want to have sex with everyone in the world. They go, hey, guess what? You're my free pass. And I go, oh, that's nice. And they go, no, you're my free pass. And I go, huh? And they go, you know what that means? I go, yeah. Do I get a vote? Because I'm a hard pass on my side. So, or do I thought I got a 50% vote in it.
Yeah,
Because
like it's a
they
done
think you're
deal.
grabbing everybody, and I'm like, but I'm just like, it's all rep. It's all fake. It's all smoke and mirrors. Plus, I'm an old man. My mom told me today, she goes, she's visiting. She goes, oh, I like your beard like that. You know who you look like? And she can't think of it. She goes, he's a little older, but he's very good looking. And I go, right. And I'm like, Clooney, Brad Pitt. She goes, and then in the other room, she goes, Clint Eastwood. I go, she goes, he's older now, but he just doesn't care. He's got his hair. He's got his beard. I go, Mom, what the fuck? He's 97. Yeah. I go, that's me. That's me. Oh, he's handsome. He's a famous. I go, sure. Okay.
Paul used to say that to me when I was doing stand up in the early. He goes, you're cute like George Burns. George Burns, he's 98. No, she didn't.
No one's fucking George Burns. Don't give me that guy.
George Burns. But I'll take men entertainers in their 90s for no. You look. She could say maybe Pierce Bronson.
Yeah, or
you
Nick
look like
Nolte.
Pierce Bronson.
I don't mind being thrown together when my hair gets all screwed up and I got this white beard, but you know, I got bigger fish to fry right now. Actually, I don't. I look like shit. Okay, next one. Danny, like I was just moving along. Oh, this thing is sickening. Don't play it yet. This, if you saw this out in the world, I would crap me diapers. Let's see. This is not a snake, folks.
Whoa.
It's a caterpillar. And it's that huge. 8 feet effing long.
Wow.
No chance would I not throw up. Would you let it walk on you?
In bed at night. You put the covers back and 8 feet.
Honey, there's a caterpillar in the room. Can you come kill it?
Jesus.
Yeah, but he's choking me and holding me up in the air.
You'd have
I picture this big for a caterpillar. 3 inches, 2 inches.
Well, does a caterpillar, I'm just trying to remember 5th grade science, biology, does it turn into a butterfly or no?
That thing's turning into a pterodactyl. I mean, it can't turn into anything except death. It's like a death machine.
What was the evolutionary advantage of having 7,000 feet?
As a caterpillar?
Yeah, I mean, it's like evolution's going, no, more feet.
Yeah, God got carried away. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's helping a lot.
High.
Yeah, I feel like it. You're right, because having 7,000 feet it sounds fun, but I'm sure like it's just a drag. What if one of your little legs breaks and the rest of them got to kind of do double time?
And what in nature looks at that and goes, yummy?
Yeah.
A grizzly bear?
It looked a little like what has the hard shell? Aardvark? Looks a little bit like that. All right, Dana, before we move on to the next, we have a guest. But guess what? Look what I got in the mail. Snatch my head around.
Oh.
This is a plaque from YouTube, because we just started, but YouTube.
Wow.
We got 100,000 subscribers. over there leaving nice comments. Only nice ones, please.
That's nice.
Only compliments. Yeah. So we're already up to 125 by the time they sent this. So I don't know if that's a
great.
lot, but it sounds really good. It sounds exciting because we're new and we're plowing through. And then a lot of people leave comments, which is good. So sometimes I go in there and check them or
And we
click on
don't
'em and stuff.
push. We don't push. I see a lot of them like, hey, everybody out there, you'd be doing us a great favor in the podcast.
Subscribe.
Smash that subscribe
Smash
button.
that fucking button.
Smash that button. Smash that button. So let's just make it a thing. We've got 125. If we can get to 250 by Labor Day because of smashing,
Smash the
we'll-
buttoning. Yeah.
we'll take requests.
All right. Also, so thank you for that, everybody, and thanks for
Thank
just
you.
listening to it. Also, so we've got a guest right now, and we'll bring her on. You can introduce her, but she's going to talk about what she does too.
Evie Poumpouras.
She explains how to say her name. I hope.
Evie Poumpouras. And she's her parents were Greek immigrants, former Secret Service agent.
Yeah.
Will tell us all about what it entails. She did a lot of interrogations with people with lie detector tests. She did carry a gun and protect presidents and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's a very interesting
Obama,
interview.
Clinton, and was it Bush Senior? Or Bush Jr.?
Yeah, because former president she would guard. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Also,
Bush
yeah.
Senior, almost all of them really.
She did it actively,
Mm-hmm.
and then after they, she explains the whole situation. Anyway, stick around. Here she is right now, and here's Evie. I had a good side
we go.
before this started. Now it's gone.
David's checking out his hair. I think it looks great.
I'm checking out everything. Sorry. Hi, Evie. Nice to see you.
Hey guys, good to meet you.
Hi,
Yeah.
Evie. I just want to know how you pronounce your last name because I didn't want to pronounce it wrong.
I know it's Greek. I'm sorry. It's if you say Poumpouras, it's fine. Yes,
Oh,
and no
close
one
enough?
will
Close
know.
enough.
It's close
No.
enough. Thank you guys.
Evie Poumpouras.
There you go.
That's
Yes.
we got it. We got it.
You're
we're very
complete
excited to talk to you.
100% Greek, and we're happy to have you here. Thanks for coming
Mhm.
on.
Happy to be on too. Huge fans of both of you, by the way.
Thank
That's
you.
more like it. Thank you.
Well, we're fascinated by you. You're, I guess, you would call a super achiever based on your resume.
Go get her.
Some degree, go getter, books, TED Talks. So I don't know where to start. So I guess for people, we're this guest today, which we'll do an intro, but she was in the Secret Service. It's cool to have a job. The first word of your job is secret. It just already creates kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
Can we ask you? So
Yeah.
we'll try to ask you questions about your 12 years as a Secret Service agent. But if it's not declassified, if it upsets the world order, you can say I'm
I'll
not
tell
at
you.
I had a
Yeah.
friend in the NSA, and I'd ask him questions, and he'd always say, "I'm not at liberty to say." That was his stock answer. So
Evie, I know a girl that dated a CIA agent, and he said he could never call her. She couldn't call him. He has to call her. And then after about a year, she found out he was just married. So
Yeah, I'm kind of had a moment. I'm like, I've not
I
heard
think
that one
that can
before.
have. That's a good scam, Dana. That they just say, "Hey, you can't ever call me. You can't text me."
There's a
And she's
lot of
like,
folks who do that actually.
oh,
"Yeah, it's a good.
Pretend
It's
to like lure
yeah, it's
people in.
rude."
mm-hmm. Because when we were growing up watching, because this was a little while. You started in 2000, I think, and so
I did.
you were probably what percentage of the Secret Service was women, and was that a thing you had to deal with a little bit, or was
Y-
it pretty liberalized by then?
It was not. I think of all the agencies out there, it's probably the one that's the slowest to let women in, and not to let them in, but to have a lot of women. I think a couple of things. One, most women don't put in for that job. It's a very, it's
Oh,
Mhm.
a lot of it is protection. You're jumping in front of bullets for people. It's kind of not something I think that most women can connect to. So I think that's one thing. And then the other part is just because it's so physical, right? Because you
Mhm.
have to
Mhm.
physically not be able to just jump in front of a bullet, but you have to carry people, protect people. So I think those two things
Right.
together kind of deter people from putting in. So I'd say when I got in, maybe 98% male, but I'll be honest, like when I went in, I didn't really sit and do the math. In my head, I was like, this is amazing. If I can get in, who's better than me? So really, that's
Yeah.
kind of the mindset I went in with.
And the physical requirements, what level was it at? Did you have to get in trained for that to be able to jump in front of bullets? And because I know that we'll get to it in a minute, but you became an interrogator as well, which is fascinating.
Yeah, so the interrogation part came later in my career, but when you go through training now, I had actually gone into the NYPD right before, so
Mm-hmm.
they managed to kick the crap out of me. It was actually really tough. I was surprised. I was thinking New York City cop, pff, anybody can do
Walk
it. I was
around, yeah.
really wrong. I was extremely
Mhm.
wrong. They like demolished me. And so I think I had been prepared somewhat before I went into the service training. You have to think of service training as a bit more, they get into the minutia. You have to not just be a great shot, you have to be like a truly excellent shot. Your driving has to be really, they finesse everything and they also handpick you. So by the time you get in, like they really put a lot of money into you. So they want to see you pass. Yeah, I compare it like this. NYPD was 1,500 recruits. US Secret
Mm.
Service was 54 recruits. So
Oh,
really
okay.
different beast.
Oh.
But the one thing that they do, which I think works really well to get people to perform, you do everything in front of each other. So if you suck, everybody sees you suck. And I
Right.
think that mentality, even when you shoot, when we shoot, our targets are put up, they're put up so close so you can really see how the other person shoots. And then when they score it, in a really big black magic marker, they put your score. So I think that part of itself keeps people kind of in line, like, I better do a good job because not only may I get booted, but everybody sees that I'm not performing.
Sure.
Well, what was the first time you got scared? So you get in there and you've got your secret clothes on. I don't know what Secret Service agents have besides their gun, but I don't know if you
Spider-Man
hide other
outfit.
things. We don't know. Spray that make people tell the truth. So the first time you felt a little scared, were you in a situation, or you were adrenalized, you maybe potentially had to use your weapon, or did you not ever get in that kind of situation?
No, in the U.S. Secret Service, they do criminal investigations. That's actually why they were founded. It was for
Mm-hmm.
counterfeit money. April
Mm-hmm.
14, 1865, the day President Lincoln was assassinated, he created the U.S. Secret Service. And it was actually to combat counterfeit currency because at that time, a third of the money in the US was fake. They called it funny money. Well, we called it funny money, but it was all fake. So it was completely destroying the economy. So he created the service for that. So they started as an investigative agency. Then protection came later. So
Mm-hmm.
you would do search warrants, arrest warrants. We did all of that stuff. In fact, in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, that's really mostly what you do. So I think the first time I was afraid, and I guess there's so many types of fears. I mean, I was afraid in training. I didn't want to get cut. I didn't want to humiliate myself. There's that
Mm-hmm.
fear.
Yeah.
But in terms of other fear, I think the first time probably I pulled out my weapon and pointed it at another human being. Although you practice, there's this part of you that's thinking, if he does this, am I willing to pull the trigger and then deal with the consequences of that? Because it's not like, it really isn't like the movies. You are taking another human
Right.
being's life, and then everybody's going to Monday morning quarterback it, and you better
Of
hope you made
course.
the right call. So
And
that
this was
part,
in
I
the
think,
lunch
is
line?
the lunch line.
The first time she pulled her gun out was at the buffet. She's like,
The
I
I'm
think I was
sorry,
in
but
front of you, sir.
do you yell something different? Because traditionally, police officers would say freeze.
Is
So
Freeze
if
still
you're,
around?
would you say freeze when you pulled your weapon? Did you say, "Hey, Mister," or what do you say, or is it just
So
the
you
weapon?
have to, that's a really good question. So you don't say
Thank you.
freeze anymore.
Yeah,
And it's a good question because legally,
yeah.
it's actually a really complicated thing because if you say the wrong thing and then
Mm-hmm.
you shoot, the other person could say, I didn't know it was police. So you
Oh, you
must say,
identify.
you have to say
Okay.
police because you could argue, be like, I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So you have
Yeah.
to say police, stop, or I will shoot. You have to say something where you actually say police. So you can't say freeze or anything like that because legally
Mm-hmm.
later on, they could come back and say they didn't identify themselves properly. So it's typically been police, stop, or I will shoot. You have to verbalize to them. And
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
actually you verbalize the threat, the first line of defense, so to speak, or when you use physical, any type of physical weapon, non-lethal weapons, right? Is your verbal command, stop or I will shoot. That's the first thing you must do.
So David said that to me a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't really know what it meant, but sorry, these are the jokes. So
you go from that into protecting presidents, and that's a whole, because you did what, Bush, Clinton, Obama?
So I started under Clinton was president when I started.
Okay.
So I had, as a sitting president, I had Clinton, then Bush Jr., and then President Barack Obama. But when you come in, like everybody thinks you're going to get the president, which you don't. It's actually really hard to get a sitting president to protect. I had to wait 7 years before I was allowed to even put my name in for that. You typically don't. It's just what people see. And then you do former presidents. So all the presidents, they get it for life, and their wives, they get it until they pass away. So I've actually
is that a fun gig or not good?
So you probably protected George Sr.
Yes.
Who I was with
you
a
did,
lot
George Sr.?
Yes.
Because he'd be, they get it
awesome.
for life. And I did a lot of events with him, and I was with him in Houston and on this patio once, Barbara and George, and there were 4 guys. It happened to be 4 men in it, in men in black, kind of black tie suits. And there were 4 of them just near us. And then at a given moment, they walked off, and then 4 more came in, and they go, well, the next wave next. So it's 24/7 guarding a president. What's the funniest thing? Did George W. Bush ever go, would you like some gum? I mean, did you have interactions like that when you're hanging out with these people for such a long time?
Yes, it's interesting because you have this, when you have the formers, when they become a former, the circle gets smaller. So you have a closer relationship with them. It becomes more family. When somebody's a sitting president, you have to think about the layers and layers and layers. It's almost like the celebrity, like who's the biggest celebrity and the entourage of people that they have around them. When it's a sitting president, there's a lot more layers. There's less dialogue. When it's a former, like GW, I used to go to Texas all the time, the ranch. And he was very, even when he was president, he was very real. I actually had his daughter 24/7, Barbara P. Bush, his daughter. And so I would be around him a lot. So he would drive around the ranch, he would mountain bike, and he was very genuine, like the way you describe him, like that's how he would talk to you. He'd be like, do you want this? Do you want gum? I mean,
he's got kind of, I call it frat boy energy. Like he's got kind of a bouncy, friendly vibe to him, like what's going on? How y'all doing? A Texas casualness,
he did.
And Obama would have been a little bit different. Heavy, how you doing?
Yeah,
I'm just doing the presidents. Heavy, how you doing? What's up?
That's pretty good.
What's going on?
Very good.
What's going on?
when there's a president,
right
how many people in your department are covering him at all times? We see people right next to him. But they're probably, there's lead people, right? And then there's people behind. So what is the total number, do you think?
It varies who it is and their threat level. And if they're current president, current presidents just get everything. Like you just have to think like they get it all. If you're looking at a former, it's, well, who is it? Where are they too? So protecting somebody, a former president, think of it this way, a former president GW, and then protecting former President Trump. So that's going to entail a very different lineup of people and resources. So protecting GW on the ranch in Texas, and he's pretty low key now, not too much going on. Protecting a President Trump, even if he wasn't running for office, let's say. But just in general, with his persona and being in New York and going to Florida, that takes like a whole other entourage of people.
So a lot of it is blending in. If the president of the United States, whoever is giving a speech, and so there's security. If it's a big outdoor speech, and we don't really know how many agencies are there, how many people are protecting the president, 50, 60, 100, I don't know. I mean, it must be quite a little more. I mean, that's the most or more. So because that's the ultimate nightmare for our security agencies, is to have a president harmed don't want to jinx anything, at a podium giving a speech. I mean, so the redundancy of protection must be massive.
The real protection you see, like the guys in the suits, that's called the shift.
Mhm.
You have to think of it, they're the last line of defense. So if something gets to them, that means
All the way to them.
everything else that was put into place just completely
Fell
gone.
apart.
So that's
So like
not a good day. If you get
when
to-
Reagan got shot, that was some shifties were there, right? Yeah. I know the lingo.
There was shifties. That's a good term. So if you look at the footage, actually, the guy who actually jumped in front of Reagan, you'll see this agent who got big,
Yeah, yes.
almost jumped. That was part of his shift, and he took the bullet. And they do train you. Not only do you have to jump in front, but they make sure that you make yourself big enough to make sure the bullet actually hits you and
Best
doesn't
chance.
accidentally miss you.
How do you
Yes.
practice that move? I mean, do you have
I
like
do
rubber
it.
bullets and you have things?
I know how to do
it. Well, he gets a lot of hecklers. He has a big security
Yeah.
detail because people.
I also make
people
my
laugh,
cheeks blown up.
but they
Do you,
get
Dave?
really.
Do you have a lot of
No,
hecklers
no,
and
I'm
stuff?
kidding. No,
we
no,
have hecklers
not
and we
really.
have, there's been a few comics that have been, when people rush the stage, you don't know what they're doing. 90% are fans, just like in a music concert. But I think we had Chappelle had a guy, one guy had a knife. You just don't know. They're like, hey, I'm your biggest fan, blam, blam, blam. So you don't know what people are thinking. So I think the idea is don't get up on stage. And if they do, I think the new normal is you have to strike first if you're the comic. That's what I would do. I think if someone comes up, I don't wait anymore. It's like, let's see how this goes. I think they know in this day and age, you're not going to wait to see if it's good or bad news. You're just going to try to keep them away.
Well, I just run. I just run off the stage. I don't stand my ground. If I look at the edge of the stage and there's a drunk guy who's bigger than me and he's approaching the microphone, I don't stand my ground. I let other people deal with it.
You don't let it play out.
But if I had to, I'd take the mic stand as a weapon. I'm not exactly an imposing physical figure, but
when you're out in the real world,
is that the right thing? Are we doing?
Do you have
good?
a sock? Do you have a knife in your sock like I do?
So now, because I'm a former, the rules change. I used to carry what we called a buck knife. And honestly, I had it for things like cutting off a seatbelt, cutting somebody out of, some kind of, thread or wire. Like I had it for all that little stuff. I live in New York and now there's rules. There's like laws. I think it's more than 3 inches. You can't carry it. But
Oops.
frankly, if I had to, I don't really carry it on me per se,
Right.
because
Mhm.
you also have to be comfortable with fighting somebody close quarters. It was interesting as you guys were talking about being on stage. I wonder if they should be, this is my Secret Service hack going on. They should be putting people through magnetometers. Like when I think of that, like that way they
Mhm.
pick up any weapons or devices on them, because you're right. People are coming in. And so you don't know what they have on them. And a lot of the
Mhm.
folks that would come, like on a daily basis, people would come to the White House and they would come in, and the majority of people we call them, they have special interest in someone we're protecting. And it would range across the board. And you would see it a lot with celebrities or people who are just of, status out there. And it draws a lot of folks with mental health issues too. So you don't know also what you're dealing with, what the capability is. And Dana, you're right. If you see something, I would do the same. I would go let the guys who know what to do deal with it. You guys are right. I would not sit and wait because you really don't know.
And in today's world, if someone cuts you off in traffic and you want to get in a physical, well, not a physical, but argue with them. Too many people have weapons today. Bam, bam, bam. I don't care if you're 6'8", whatever. That's the great equalizer, One thing I want to ask you, because I found it fascinating, that you kind of applied your expertise, or you're learning to be an interrogator. And that's a whole other fascinating thing. And you've written books about your, say, becoming bulletproof. So it all dovetails into how to read the room, how to present yourself in a corporate setting. It's a sort of a whole thing. But just what makes a great interrogator? Because we've all seen that in the movies, good cop, bad cop, or whatever tactic. But you had to learn how to read body language and all that. What was that experience like?
I didn't want to do it actually when they asked me to become it's a polygraph examiner. So we had a polygraph unit. It was about 30 agents, and it was like really the elite of the elite when it came to interviewing. And your job was, when all else failed, you had to go in and try to get information when everybody else tried and they couldn't. And it's a lot of responsibility. And then everyone's watching you through the glass too.
Oh,
So everyone's
gross.
kind of, so you have to, you're worried about, your colleagues, and am I doing this right? Then you have the person in the room. Um, it's the stuff you see in TV does not work. So when you get in people's faces, and look, if you talk to people like garbage, you get garbage. It just in general. So if I sit there and I tell you, you did this and you did that, and you're going to go to jail and you're going to go to prison if you don't tell me what you did. Just think of it from just a common sense standpoint. Why is that person going to tell me if I just told them all the reasons, all the things that are going to happen to them if they tell me? And the way you get real confessions is you actually get something called admissions. So I'm not going to come at you and say, did you do this? And this works for anything. I mean, I use this stuff on my agent and manager. I have one of those today. So I use all these techniques. But if you want to get to the truth, you get people to give you admissions to little things. So for example, let's just take it back to the criminal level. If you want to know if somebody committed a murder, you're not going to say, did you kill her? You're going to pull back. Well, and you're going to try to get them to admission, if maybe they knew her. Had they met before? Then I'm going to try to get you to admit, were you in the area when it happened? Then I'm going to try to get you to admit, did you ever talk to her on the phone? And so what you do is you get that person incrementally to be comfortable to give you a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And then as they do that, you have all these admissions, and that's what puts the picture together. And it also helps you see, like, it's a very good chance it's either going to escalate whether they did it or not, or it's going to help you see that, I don't think so.
So you charm them. What I'm curious about the polygraph, you charm them basically, and you're charming. You're not what they would expect.
Charm and disarm.
Charm and disarm. You're looking at the polygraph test. Have you ever seen the needle move so big that you thought to yourself, holy shit, this guy is full of shit. He's lying his ass off. It's just, and how can you beat a polygraph test? 2 questions.
So it's hard to beat one. I'll start with the latter one. I would have people, they do countermeasures. So a lot of folks would try to prepare for a polygraph. You know what's interesting? You know who would do the most countermeasures? It was people who wanted to be Secret Service agents. Because you had to take one to pass one or multiple ones to be an agent. So I used to do all those too. So the guys would come in, they would put thumbtacks in their shoes. They go online and research stuff. So they put a tack in their shoe. So when you ask them a question, they hit the tack. And so it would spike on questions that they thought it shouldn't spike on. It's just a whole thing. Or, I mean,
the old tack in the shoe trick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, when I asked Dana if he does a good set and it spikes, and then because I know he's lying, and then he starts stomping on a thumbtack. This has played out many times with me and Dana.
They also, that's pretty funny. They also do, I mean, this one's funny, but people do it. They also, they'll clench their butt cheeks. They'll tighten their butt cheeks to cause their body to have some type of reaction. So I had a mat that I would put on the seat, and the job of the mat was to see whether somebody was clenching. Clenching.
The old clenching the buttocks.
That old
all
chestnut.
These tricks of the trade. Has anyone ever ripped the thing off and just started screaming, I did it? I did it.
I wish. No.
Does someone go in first and say, listen, you might as well tell me, because if I bring Evie in here, it's not going to be pretty. She's the bad cop. I'm the good guy. Do not let Evie come in here.
It doesn't work. Bad cop, good cop. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Only in the movies.
It's great on television. Doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, I mean, we would keep it neutral. And to be fair, when I would come in, I really had to leave. A case agent would come, and I would actually travel the country and help even local police departments in the U.S. And sometimes I'd go overseas. If they had a big case, in the U.S. we have thousands of police departments, and they all have their own commissioner. They have their own resources, their training. And if you look at the data, actually, about half the police departments have 10 officers or less. So they don't have the resources. So they would ask for help, which I think was very smart of them. They'd say, can you come in? But they didn't know often who they were going to get. And when you would come in, I didn't want them to know anything about me, not even my name, nothing. You'd come in, you'd be an objective seeker of the truth. But also keep in mind too, I had to come in because sometimes the police would say, my colleagues would say, this guy did it. We're looking at this guy or gal. And I would come in, I'd say, you know what? It's actually not them. Because sometimes I'd have people pass and then I would do my assessment and I would say, this person cleared everything. You're looking at the wrong person.
How'd that go over?
It went
With the
over well.
NYPD? What do you mean we're looking at the wrong person? Listen, Miss Evie Papadopoulos, whatever your name is, this is the NYPD. When I read a polygraph test, I know what it says. Okay? Capiche? Anyone ever say that to you?
You are 100% right with the NYPD because I was one. Actually, that's how they.
Did you ever have to go? Yeah, I get what she's saying. Hey, would you like to get maybe sometime get a cup of coffee?
Uh-oh.
I mean, were you ever asked out by a cop?
Sure. I mean, you play like most of the time. The way you do it is you disengage it, or I would use humor. Like humor is great to disengage people and to let people down nicely. So I would use a lot of humor. I became very funny as an agent.
What was your comeback line? Hey, we'd like maybe go out for a glass of beer sometime or something. Aw shucks, if I could get your number, it'd be even easier. And then you would say,
"Oh, thanks, I appreciate it." I play dumb, and I appreciate it. I'm like, actually, tomorrow President Bush is blah 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 blah, or I actually have to fly out.
That wins. I'm guarding the president. I'd love to have coffee with you, Sergeant O'Malley.
The president needs me.
Yeah,
I have to stay home and practice jumping in front of a bullet in the mirror. So I have to get it right. I got to make sure I'm really big.
So when you did your TED Talk, I'm just curious about this. It was called Your Most Powerful Weapon.
Words. Words are your most powerful weapon. Yes.
Words. I mean, what our stock and trade is the most powerful weapon. Thank you.
Yeah. When I became when I first went into the NYPD, Sergeant Corrigan, he got up there and he did his
Sergeant Corrigan.
Exactly. He's like, everybody, I'm going to tell you that, if you go through your entire career and you never use your weapon, he said, by my account, you've had a great career because this is your most powerful weapon, not this. And he would point to his sidearm. And it's true. Most law enforcement don't use, I think 99% never use their weapon.
Well, they get crucified after.
You do.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Because you're
to be a cop is so tough. Oh my God. And the body cams, I mean, they can get beat up, but they can't fight back. There's like a million things going on out there that you just see and you go, and people go, the cops aren't in as good as shape as they used to be. I'm like, well, who's signing up to be a cop? Low money, get screamed at and beat up every day. But they're the first ones you call. It's tough out there.
It's true. You're going to have less people, especially there's talks about so if I would get into a shootout, I actually had insurance. I had insurance the way doctors have. I had insurance that way. If something happened and I got sued, I would be covered. I paid that diligently every year.
Good old shootout insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
If I did something, or it didn't even have to shoot someone, I could arrest someone if they said I used too much force.
Of course.
Right.
Anything like that.
Yeah.
It's hard. And even with the body cams, I want you to think about what job out there makes you wear body cam like the whole time you're working. There's no job out there that does that to you. So even just psychologically, like you can't ever.
Oh yeah, a video of a report card live in real time of how
every
your job is
second
going
of your life
that can blast all over the worldwide media. If
always
there's
gets
anything
leaked.
irregular. Yeah.
Always gets leaked.
Yeah, but you have this career now where you're talking just about how to apply this to life, basically. So words is a big, big part of it. And then also just how to read the room, how to own your power. Is that kind of the thesis of your book?
Yeah. So becoming bulletproof, what happened is people would write into me like, how do I this? How do I that? And, it's hard to answer somebody in a text or a message. And I found also using all the stuff that I learned in my day-to-day, even after I left. I use this stuff with my students. I use it when I'm doing a news deal with a network or something.
Yeah.
And so it helped me so much. And it really helps, I don't want to say steady me, but it kind of did. I grew up in the service and you go through this training and it really helps elevate the way you think and the way you problem solve. And so I broke it down in the book. First part of the book's Protection 101. It's everything you need, physical protection, mental protection, even shielding yourself from people. And I would think, it's interesting. A lot of folks, like celebrity folks, that's probably something you probably had to master from the very beginning, because as you start, your name starts to get more relevance, your image, people start coming at you, and you have to do what? You have to start buffering who has access to you, what they're taking from you, right?
And how to read
it's almost like
them.
you have to how to read them, who's genuine, who's not.
Mhm.
So you're doing all these mental gymnastics, and that's really important, I think, for a
Okay.
lot of folks. So there's that part of it. Part two is just reading people, body language, verbal language, how to know if people are
Mhm.
lying to you, just giving people the best tools they can. Because I think what also helped me is, with confidence at least, when I'm looking at someone and I know what I'm looking at, that boosts up my confidence in that if I know what I'm looking at, then I know how to behave or handle that person.
Mhm.
What's hard is like, I don't know what this guy's about. I can't read him
Mhm.
well, and then you don't know what to do. And that's
Mhm.
really hard. And then the
Mhm.
last part of the book was influence. How do you get people to be less combative, to be more in alignment with what you want them to do? And truly, you can use this across the board. I use it on everyone. But
Mhm.
it's
Wow.
genuine, though. It's a way for you to really understand human nature, human psychology, read people,
Mhm.
and then also protect yourself. And look, I'm a champion of humanity, but also not everybody means you well. And
Mhm.
it's our responsibility to
Yeah.
know that, like to pay attention.
Dana's black shirt is a power move. Mm.
This is
Black is
all
a
I
power
this
move.
is all I wear.
Yeah.
Black is actually, if you look at agents, they all
Mhm.
wear, if you look at their suits, when they're in suits, it's black,
Mhm.
dark gray, or navy. Nothing else. You're not
Mm.
allowed to
Right.
wear anything else.
And a white shirt, dark tie. They don't
White
wear a
shirt or
pink
light
shirt.
blue shirt, like yours,
Light blue,
David.
like David.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
because
Mm.
the
Wow.
dark colors exude strength, authority. I wore purple for you guys because you guys are
Yeah.
a bit more in a different space. I thought I could be a little bit more
See?
festive.
Purple pops.
Anyway, well, it's been so much fun talking with you, and we wish you. I hope that this was part of your day of doing what you want to do today. You spent this time with us, so thank you, David.
Thank you, Evie. And I think I learned a lot, and I didn't know a lot, but it's fun to talk to you and hear about that whole world that we never hear about.
Yes. The
Well, thank you
secret
guys. You
world.
guys were a blast too. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Of
Our
course.
pleasure.
All right.
Be
Bye-bye.
well.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Superfly is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss Berman of Odyssey, Heather Santoro, and Greg Holtzman. Hope you liked it.